I just had the worst, most awkward, terrible Tinder date of my life. And I just need to talk about it real quick because this is insane. So I started talking to this guy literally today. We matched on Tinder today and he was messaging me and was pretty adamant. I didn't answer him at first and then he messaged me again. So I was like, whatever, I'll give him a chance. Sure. So he's messaging me and basically is like, oh, add me on Snapchat. I deleted my Snapchat and my Instagram. Long story, but I basically was like, oh, I don't have Snapchat. You can text me. So I gave him my number and he starts texting me. And basically off the bat, he's like, I really want to see you. What are you doing later? Let's go to the movies. Let's go on a date. And he seemed so nice. He was so cute. On his Tinder bio, it said he was in finance. He's 6 feet. He had a bunch of pictures. He was verified. So real person. I was like, okay, sure, let's go on a date. And he sent me this movie and everything. And basically I was like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. And he was like, awesome. Bought the tickets. I'll see you tonight, blah, blah, blah. And then we were planning out when we wanted to meet, if we wanted to meet prior, all this stuff. We talked all day basically. And so it finally came to before we were going. And he tells me that his car is in the shop and he has to Uber. And it would be really nice if I wanted to pick him up. Instant fucking red flag. I should have just ran then. Don't know why I didn't. I was already in deep enough. I was just yeah, no, we should just meet there, just Uber. So he's fine with that, whatever. So he Ubers there, I'm driving, and he gets there a few minutes before me. So I call him when I pull in. I'm like, hey, I just got here. We got there an hour early because we wanted to meet up and talk and stuff before. I wanted to get to know him because when you're at a movie, you can't talk and get to know the person. I'm so stupid for all of this. In hindsight, I see this now. Anyway, I call him. I'm like, oh, do you want to come in my car and we can hang out in here and talk before the movie or whatever? And he's like, yeah, sure. I'll come out, just park wherever. Thank God I park literally right front and center, under the lights. There's people outside. There's people in their cars. So I'm parked right front and center. He gets in my car. And all is fine, and we're talking, whatever. And I basically had to tell him. So before I left my house, I realized I had a cold sore on my lip, whatever. A lot of people get them. I've gotten them ever since I was a little kid. I don't know, but I know they're contagious, and I know it's basically herpes or whatever. So I had to tell him. And it was the worst thing to have to tell someone on a first date. And I was so nervous. I was so scared. And I'm like, if you want to leave now, if you're all set, I get it, don't worry. I was like, I swear I don't have any other diseases. This is it. I have a cold sore and I have to tell you because yeah, if we kiss, obviously we can't. And he's laughing. He's like, you're so cute. He's like, no, I don't care. I actually just got over one myself. It's fine. I want to kiss you. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, your choice, And he's like, can I kiss you? And I was like, sure. Mind you, we literally were only talking for 5 minutes, not even. Anyways, starts kissing me, keeps kissing me, and grabs my leg, and I'm like, oh God, okay, this is not not what I imagined. So I kind of pull away. I started a different conversation. We started talking. He's just acting really weird. He was kind of annoyed that I pulled out of the kiss. And so I asked him oh, what happened to your car? Why is it in the shop? And he starts being so weird and moving around. He's like, yeah, actually it's really embarrassing. I lost my license on the 4th of July. I got a DUI, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, in my head, I'm like, okay, this guy already lied to me about something this. This is just I already have awful vibes about this. Anyways, we get over that and he just keeps wanting to make out and kiss, and I'm like, like, I just feel like I have to, like, it was a really awkward situation. And then he starts grabbing my hand and putting it, I'm sure you can guess where. And I basically had to pull away and like tell him, like, I just want to like get this out of the way now. I'm not trying to do all that, you know, like, no. And his whole demeanor changed. He completely changes, and he's basically tells me like that's all he wanted. Like, that's why he came tonight. That's why he did all this, because he was expecting that. And I like had to tell him no, like, sorry. And before this too, he was telling me that I should move parking spots or whatever, and I wouldn't. And even after me telling him that I'm not doing all that, he still kept trying to get me to move my car to like the back of the theater where it's like completely dark, and he's just acting really off and really weird. And instantly I'm just getting like awful vibes. Like, I'm just like, and then he starts like gaslighting me, telling me that I led him on. Huh? Like, I'm so sorry for agreeing to go to the movies with you and I wouldn't pick you up. Like, I didn't even argue with him, because I'm like, if I get this man angry, like, who knows what's gonna happen. I mean, thank God I'm right in front of the theater under the lights and like there's people around, so. But he was like making jokes too, because like I had a nice car. He's like, because I kept saying like, oh, like, I hope you don't kill me, like, I hope you're not a murderer. And he's like, yeah, I could like literally kill you right now and like take your car, like, you have a nice car, blah blah. And like, I don't know, maybe it was just jokes, like, because I was joking about it, but it felt really off to me. And you could tell he was like really pissed off that and he kept trying to get me to like want to do stuff with him, and like he was like, oh, like, maybe we can still go see the movie. Mind you, I did check before I went, and we would have been the only two people in that movie. Like, I had awful vibes. I was like, no. I'm like, I don't want to waste your time. Like, your time's valuable. And he's like sulking. He's like, my time's not valuable. Like, I'm like, okay, you clearly are a psychopath, and you clearly have no self-esteem, and you probably will just kill me. Like, I don't even know if I can post this, because I can't say all this stuff. Whatever, I'm posting it. But yeah, so basically I started crying and was just trying to make him feel as bad as possible, because I'm like, I don't want this guy to kill me right now. Like, he was being really weird. Like, there's so much I could explain, but I had so many red flags. Thank God I had my like smarts about me, and whatever, like, this could have ended so much worse. He basically was like, oh, like, will you at least wait for me, like, my Uber to get here? And I was like, yeah, like, sure, like, I'm not gonna like piss you off anymore. Like, his Uber got there, and like, whatever, he's gone. I'm low-key kind of scared. I'm like, is there a tracker in my car? Is there something? Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna pray all is fine, I'm okay. But if I wake up dead tomorrow, y'all know what happened. But I shouldn't even joke like that. But anyway, I'm never going on another date again, and that's just that. Sorry, he ruined it for everyone. Okay, good night, bye. I'm happy to be alive.
Never ever let a man come over to your house after the first date, and if you used to do this, you'll never do this ever again after hearing this story. So this young girl goes on a first date with this guy she's never met before. They go for dinner and she's having a great time. No red flags. He's not weird. He's not creepy. She doesn't feel alarmed in any type of way. The dinner goes fine, and then eventually at the end of the dinner they part ways and she goes home. Just to note, throughout the dinner he did not hint or insinuate in any shape or form that he wanted to go to her place afterwards, because he was such a respectful guy. Right, but when she did get home, she was a little bit surprised when he called her saying that he needs to come over to her place because he can't find his keys and his flatmate is not picking up the phone. And because he seemed like such a genuine guy and such a sweet guy, there was no green flag, like he paid for the dinner and all of this stuff, she let him come over just to kind of help him out while he waits to get through to his flatmate. So he comes over and they're chilling on their couch, having a good time. Nothing was weird. She had no weird vibes. Like, seriously was like a normal guy. And eventually it did get really late, and she was like, hey, you can sleep on my couch while you figure things out. I'm gonna go to my room and go to sleep. And for some reason she had this gut feeling, like this gut intuition that literally just said to her, lock your bedroom door. So on this one occasion, she never ever usually locks her bedroom door, but on this one occasion she locked her bedroom door, because let me tell you, a woman's intuition never lies to you. She knocks out, she goes to sleep. A couple of hours pass and she hears a few knocks on her door, and it's him, and he's just asking her for a charger. But she had this instinct to not open her door and go show him the charger. So she literally just yelled from her bed and was like, the charger's in the kitchen, go help yourself. Says thank you and goes silent, and a couple of minutes go by. At this point she's just like, fine, he's got the charger, he's doing his business. But then he knocks on her door again and he's like, hey, this iPhone charger's not working, can I come in your room? Like, do you have a charger in your room that I can use? Alarm bells are ringing in her head, and she's like, why does this man want to get in my room so badly? So she basically called the police. He did not know at this point that she actually phoned the police. He had no idea the police were coming, and then eventually she hears the police come, knock down the door. There's a lot of commotion going on in the living room, and then a couple more moments and a couple more minutes go past, and the police eventually knock on her bedroom door saying, hey, it's the police, you're safe, you can now come outside. When she walked out her bedroom door into the living room, everywhere was plastered up. There was plastic sheets covering all the furniture, and there was a box of power tools, hammers, axes, drills, like you name it, screwdrivers, just a box of just tools there in her living room. If she did not use her womanly instincts, she would have been gone. She would have been gone. And it's just so sad that there are men like, and they are disguised. There are men that are disguised. They show this friendly, outgoing, showing all the green flags, knowing the right things to say. But they are just most horrific, nasty people. He was so prepared to unalive her that night. Babe, if you have listened this far, I cannot stress enough. Never, ever, ever let a man come home to your house on the first date, because you don't know who this guy really is and you don't know what he's capable, and God forbid this ever happens to you. So make sure you tell your girlfriends and you make this as a mental note that you will never, no matter how sweet, how convincing this guy is, he's not coming home with you.
Basically, my mom was gonna get married to this man. Well, they did get married, but before they got married, they decided to do everything that they were supposed to do. They didn't sleep with each other. They had a big church wedding. They even went and got tested for STDs. At the STD clinic, they stood in front of each other in front of the doctor. She said to him, oh, I'm clean, I'm good, I'm tested, I don't have anything. She said the same thing for him. She didn't look at the papers, thought nothing about it. They get married. They even moved to South Carolina. Mind you, we're originally from Florida. They get married. I don't go with them. I'm like 5 years old at this time. My mother gets pregnant, and so then she goes into the doctor. And they call her back afterwards. She's used to this because she has diabetes, and normally they call you back and say, hey, you have diabetes, you need to be more careful. No, they said to her, hey, you have HIV. She was like, what do you mean I have HIV? I've been with the same man. What do you mean? Mind you, this is 2005. They don't know as much about HIV as they do now. And so primarily that happened with gay couples. But gay people aren't the only people who can get HIV, of course. So she finds this out and she's like, oh my God, what? They also tell her you're pregnant with twins. So she doesn't tell anybody for about a month just because she's so stressed and like, you know, she's in shock. And so she finally tells him, and the first thing he says is, please don't tell anybody. And he also told her, like, no one else will love you. You have to stay with me, all this crap. She calls my grandparents. They come and get her. She takes everything she came into that marriage with. And the only thing she left him with was a microwave. Period. She comes home and she tells a few family members. And so my aunt calls her and it's like, hey, turn on the news. There's a story on the news where one person knowingly infected the other person with an STD. And they got prison time because it's illegal. So then she realized, hey, this is a crime. And so we have a family friend who's a police officer. She tells him and he's immediately like, oh my God, he starts crying. He immediately goes, we need to get him on a two-way call and have him admit it. If he admits it, then we can get him in trouble with the South Carolina laws instead of the Florida laws. And the reason they were trying to get him in trouble with the South Carolina laws is because South Carolina gives a bigger punishment than Florida. Are we shocked? No. So she gets him in this two-way call and they start talking, and basically he's being not a good person. But she gets him to admit it, and that's very important. They send out a national warrant for his arrest. He's from a very small town, Greenville, South Carolina, right? So in Greenville, South Carolina, on the news, they're like, if you slept with this man, you need to go get tested. Why? That same day, the testing line is out the door. Out the door. Everybody's going to get tested because everybody slept with this man. He slept with and knowingly infected over 200 people. Right. I was like, what? Oh my God. 200 men and women. So not just women, baby. It's insane. That is a crime. One of the people he slept with was his boss. He worked at a pretty big company. I think it was like something. I don't know. It was a big company. He slept with his boss. The boss went to go get tested and found out she was infected. When she found out she was infected, her partner also found out they were infected, but she didn't talk to him. Like, this woman goes to everybody because she was just so in shock and she needed to process it. Mind you, this is a pretty big deal, you know, and so she wanted to process it. She didn't talk to her ex at all. And so we're gonna pause that story for a second and jump to now. A few months ago, me and my mother had to go back to Greenville, South Carolina, where most of this took place, and go to court because he hadn't been paying child support for the twins. As we go here, it's just such a synchronistic day, and we're meeting so many people and like just talking with them and having a really good time. We start talking to this one lady and we're like telling her this story because like it's just the vibe to share. It's a very interesting story. So we get to the part of the story that me and you are in right now, and my mom is saying, yeah, he slept with his boss and she found out she was infected. She completely ghosted the guy that she was with just because she was in such shock. And he was also in shock. So this man is just going crazy because it's like, she won't talk to me. I'm also infected. I don't know anything. And so we're telling the lady the story. And my mom goes, yeah, so my ex-husband's boss is walking out of her garage on Mother's Day. The lady that we're talking to, she goes, wait, you mean the lady that walked out of her garage on Mother's Day and her boyfriend shot her to death? Oh my God, that was my aunt. We're sitting here telling this lady this story, and then she starts finishing the story for us because the lady, the boss, that was her aunt. So we're just like, what the heck? What do you mean that was her? Like, what? Do you know how small of a world it is? And she was like, yeah, I was young when that happened, so I didn't really know like why she passed away or like what the true cause of her death was. I just heard that like it was a tragedy and he just went crazy and shot her. We had no idea that this was why, and it was linked to that case. So we're just like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening. And the way everything just connected was literally insane, guys. Like, but basically the twins' dad, the one who infected my mother, he went to prison for about 5 years. He's out now and not paying child support. Obviously, that's why we had to go to the courthouse. But after that, my mom became an HIV advocate. She's really well known on Facebook. And I believe her face is in a bunch of like museums around the country. Oh, and she was so stressed from all of this and from finding out she had HIV that she actually had my twin siblings at 4 months. They were not supposed to live. Do you know how hard it is to have a baby at 4 months and keep them alive? It's a miracle. The twins do have disabilities now. Definitely probably as a result of being born too early. My brother has cerebral palsy and my sister has autism. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. We're all living now. Everybody's pretty fine. My mom, when she was an HIV advocate, which she technically still is, she'd go around speaking this story to schools, churches, anybody who like wanted her to come and, you know, speak about it, telling people to practice safe, you know, intercourse. And of course, always see the papers if you're going to be tested with somebody. Do not take their word for it. Oh, the biggest part is the doctor knew that he was lying, but couldn't say anything because of the HIPAA Law Privacy Act, which is so crazy to me. But yeah, we gotta finish up this green juice. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I'm gonna go make this and drink it. If you'd like to follow her Facebook is Renee Burgess Ladybird Live. Just look up the Renee Burgess story on YouTube or Facebook or honestly Instagram, and it'll pop up. Thanks for listening. Follow for more story times.
You're quiet. Yeah. I'm trying to gauge how awkward and myself I can be in this new social situation. So I will be quiet until then. And then once I figure it out, you'll probably wish that I would go back to being quiet.
I almost got murdered today, and this is what happened. I matched with this guy on Bumble. We talk, like, exchange a few messages back and forth, and then we switched to WhatsApp. We decided to go on a date, so he planned one for today. When I asked him to send me what bar we're going to, he sent me a postcode, and he was like, meet here. So I Googled the postcode, and I put on maps, and it was like flats. There was like a residential street. So I was like, what is this? I don't want to meet here. Like, can we just meet at the bar? No, he was like, no, just meet me here. We can walk together. And I was like, can I just please meet you at the bar? And again, he was just like, just meet me here. Obviously, I was still going to go to the bar. He eventually told me the bar's name. And I am coming, well, I was supposed to be in the office today, so I would have been coming from wherever my office is. And he chose a place that's like an hour away by tube. And it's a Tuesday, so I didn't really want to do that. I was like, that's too far. I don't want to be back late and then end up having to take like a really expensive Uber back to my house. And he was like, it's not far at all. Like, just walk across the bridge and then you can tube to one stop, which it wasn't. It would still take me about an hour to get there. So I was like, no, can we just meet somewhere in the middle, so that we can both travel? It's not just like, I don't know. It's because he lives in that area that he wanted to do that he chose the bar in. He was adamant on not changing the location. And he was just like, why are you making such a big deal out of it? It's not a big deal. The Uber's not expensive. He like looked up the price. And he was like, it's only £15, which it would not be, because from my house to like the bar by Uber would be like probably £30, especially late at night. There was a bit of back and forth, and then I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just reschedule for a different day, because this is obviously like not working, and now we're just like in a bit of a fight, so it's just weird and awkward, and maybe we shouldn't even go on a date. I didn't say that part. But anyways, he was like, well, I can't now because I've had to put my credit card down, and they're gonna charge me if I cancel the reservation because it's less than 24 hours. I went onto the website of the bar and I clicked reserve a table. You did not have to put your credit card down. I could easily you just have to fill out your name, and that's it. And something told me to reverse image search his pictures, and I used this website. It's called facecheck.id, and it basically is like reverse image search for social profiles and stuff. I put his picture in there, and it comes up with this like fitness gym model based in Germany. I live in London. So I was like, okay. And it had a completely different name. And all the pictures that were on his profile were taken from that person's profile. So at that point, I was like, okay, what the hell? So he wanted to meet me. This random postcode, not the bar. Random postcode, looked like a residential street. I'm assuming it was his place. He was adamant on not changing the location. He specifically wanted to meet there, and he would not meet me halfway. He lied about the credit card, putting it down. And then he's not even real. So I don't know what the intention was. I don't know what would have happened if I went. And it's supposed to be in a few hours. So I obviously have not done anything. I screenshotted the profile, the fitness model's Instagram, and I sent it to him. But now I'm really scared, actually. So I reported him on Bumble. I'm going to block him on WhatsApp before he even responds, because I don't know what would have happened, but everything is just like alarm bells. And there, I'm pretty sure that would have been the last day that I was seen alive. So yeah, that is how I almost got killed.
I'm sorry, but why the f*** are we taking taxes out of the paychecks of 15 to 17-year-olds when they are not allowed to vote? Is that not the definition of taxation without representation?
I'm so sorry that I kept you guys waiting, but I seriously was living the situation up until a couple of hours ago. Quick recap, I went out with a guy that I matched with on Hinge on Saturday night, and it ended up going absolutely terrible. So it's me and my friend. He tells us to show up to his Airbnb at a certain time to pregame with like all the rest of his friends. Right when we get there, off the bat, the vibes are off. There's like 3 other girls there. They're getting ready. I introduce myself. Like, I walk up the stairs, and I'm like, hi guys, like, I'm Winnie, nice to meet you, because I'm not the bitch that's not about to say hi. When they said hi, it was just like very cold, very annoying. And the Hinge match kept saying like, God, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I had to bring you guys into this vibe. Let's go up to the roof and just like drink there. So we go up to the rooftop. He's chatting about how it's his birthday, how he had rented this Airbnb, and how they were being absolutely terrible. Like, they didn't care that it was his birthday. They didn't want to go to any of the places that he wanted to go. And I felt really bad. So me and my friend, we were like, look, just hang out with us. Like, we're gonna go out, we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna celebrate your birthday. I did start to notice though that he was starting to pay more attention to my friend, like ask her more questions and just be a little bit more intrigued in her life. It's not really important to the story, but I just wanted to give you guys like the vibes. So it's me, my friend, Hinge guy, his friend. He really wanted to go to this club called Havana, so it's his birthday. We're like, you know, we're gonna do whatever you want to do. His friend calls the Uber, we go down from the roof and we leave and we get in the Uber. The moment we get out of the Uber, I realize that I didn't have my purse. So I'm looking around for my purse. I'm looking at them. I'm like, guys, I don't have my purse. The Uber is driven away. Can you try messaging the Uber? I'm talking to his friend at this point because his friend's the one that called the Uber. Like, can you try messaging him and asking him if the purse is in there? He's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. But chances are your purse is probably in the house. You probably left it there or you probably left it on the rooftop. I was like, you know what? You know, at this point, I was a little bit tipsy. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, probably. Honestly, it's probably there. So like, no big deal. I also really did not want to ruin this man's birthday and make it about myself. So I was kind of just like, okay, like hopefully it's at the house. It probably is. And then we can just have a good night. We're at Havana. We're having a good time. I kind of noticed that like at this point that he's like really interested in my friend. So I'm starting to just get like turned off. I'm like, okay, like whatever, you know, it is what it is. After a couple hours, we were lit. We were like, let's head back to the Airbnb. And here's where shit got stressful because it escalated so fast. The moment we get back to his Airbnb, he's like, shh, shh, be quiet. You have to be quiet. The girls are sleeping. Like, don't say a peep. Like, don't say a word. He's not even letting us stay in the house. He's literally saying, go back up to the roof where it's cold as hell. We were drinking. He's like, shh, shh. Every little thing we say, if we giggle, if we talk, he would be like, shh, shh, shh. Meanwhile, we weren't even being loud. Like, we were trying to be as respectful as we possibly could be. But it was the fact that every little noise we made, this man was like, guys, you guys are being too loud. It was like, honestly, it just gave me, like, it gave me the ick. Like, we get up to the roof, we're talking, we're telling him, like, how cold we are and how we want to go back inside. And so he's like, fine, like, let's go downstairs. I'm thinking he's going to take us to the kitchen. No. He takes us down one flight of stairs because there's 3 flights of stairs in this condo. It's like layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 rooftop. He takes us down the first flight of stairs and like pushes us into his room and locks the door and like closes the door. It was at this moment that I remembered that I still hadn't found or looked for my purse. So I tell him, I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot to look for my purse. Have you talked to the Uber? I look at his friend and I'm like, hey, have you talked to the Uber driver? Have you heard anything? He's like, no, I haven't heard anything. I'm like, can I go and like look in your kitchen? Maybe I left it on the roof. He looks me dead in my eye and is like, shh, shh, no, you can't, no. I'm looking at him in shock and disbelief. I'm like, what do you mean no? I need to find my purse. My keys to my home are in there and the keys to my car are in there. If I don't find them, like I'm literally stuck. He proceeds to tell me again, no, I'm sorry, but you can't go look. By this point, his friend had left the room and disappeared. It'd been like 20 or 30 minutes now. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, can we try to contact the Uber? Like, can we please do something? Because us just sitting here and you guys just staring at me is stressing me out. Like, I'm getting nervous. Like, I need to find my shit. At this point, I'm starting to cry. Him and my friend are sitting on the bed. I'm like scooched into a corner, like balled up, crying. Him and my friend are looking at me like I'm fucking insane. I am pleading with this man to please let me go check the roof. Let me go check the kitchen. Like, let me just leave this room. And he's still saying no. At this point, I don't feel like my friend is supporting me at all, and it's 2 against 1, and I'm feeling very, very ganged up on. So I'm like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the bathroom because there was a bathroom attached to the room. I'm like, and you guys can sit here, and I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and I'm gonna call Corey, my baby daddy. I go into the bathroom because talking to them is not helping. I am still drunk and I'm trying my hardest to still be respectful to this man. So I go into the bathroom, I call Corey crying. Corey is like stressed out. He's like, what's going on? What's happening? I'm telling him what's happening. I'm like, I'm trying to tell them I need to find my keys. I need to find my car keys, you know, and my house keys because I can't get into my house. Like I'm explaining this to Corey. Corey's like, I don't understand. Like, what's the issue? Like, why can't you look for your shit? And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, no one's listening to me, dude. Not even my friend. Like, she wasn't even listening to me. Yes, I was intoxicated, but at the same time, like, I was still very much aware that I needed to find my shit. My friend whips open the bathroom door and she's like, we can hear you talking out here. Like, we can hear you talking shit. And I'm like, okay, but you guys are not helping me. So I had to call Corey to be like, hey, come help me because they're not helping me. I felt like no one was listening to me. It was giving like angry black women freaking out for no reason. At that point, I was really mad at my friend. I had cussed her out because I was like, leave me alone. She ends up storming off. I think she ends up like leaving the room and she's like, fucking, I'm out of here. She storms off. She leaves. I'm sitting there like crying to Corey, like, hey, like, what do I do? I'm still begging this man, like, can I please just go check? Like, let me just go look. He's still saying no. About 5 minutes later, my friend tries to call me and tells me like, let's go. I called the Uber and I'm sitting here like, no, I already called my child's father. I don't want to hop in the car with you and just be screaming at each other. Like, I'm not arguing with you about this. Like, I'm not doing it. So I completely was like, you go. So she ends up leaving. And another reason why I didn't want to leave is because I still didn't have my shit, right? Like, they didn't even live in Georgia. The moment I would have left, I would have never heard from them again. So I'm talking to the Hinge guy. It's just me and him at this point. And I'm like, can you go ask your friend if the Uber driver has said anything? Like, give me the Uber driver's number. Like, I will go, but like, I need some connection so that I can try to get my purse back. He's screaming back at me like, why are you blaming us? Like, we didn't do anything. He's talking about him and my friend. He's like, we didn't do anything and you're getting mad at us. And I'm sitting here like, I'm not getting mad at you guys. I am just like asking for empathy. Like, help me find my bag. Like, actually care at the fact that I lost my shit. I do take responsibility for losing my shit. That's all on me, but I'm just asking for you to maybe care? Like, what? I really did try to fit this whole story into 10 minutes. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to go to part 2.
5 years old now. My father died at 7.5. I don't want to live in a hole anymore.
Story time about how a guy begged to take me out on a date and I end up paying for the whole thing. So this happened about 2-3 years ago. And this is like when I still had like Facebook at the time. There was this one guy who would like ask to like take me out all the time. And I would always dub him because like, no tea, no shade. But I like my men chocolate. Dark chocolate. I could do the brown skin too. But I just feel like 2 yellow tone people just, no. I'm already yellow enough for the both of us. Point of the matter is, he was asking me for like bare long. I think for like 2 years he been trying to get a date with me. So I was like, fuck it, why not? Let me go see what this guy's about. Something told me, you know, them little posts that be like, oh, give the guys that be in your DMs a chance because that could be your husband. I don't even know why I did that because he was not my type. He wasn't ugly until he smiled. Like, he smiled and his teeth was like 90% gums, 10% teeth. That whole shit just pissed me off. So, fast forward, he comes, he picks me up. It's pretty early in the day because there was 2 things that I wanted to do that day. I wanted to go to Coney Island. I know y'all be like, if y'all from New York, they're going to be like, why would you want to go to Coney Island for the first date? 1, I like amusement parks. And 2, Coney Island after hours, after a certain time, you have to be 21 plus to be there. And then going on rides drunk as hell, oh, it's a time. So I wanted to go there and I also wanted to go to dinner. So this man picks me up. He's driving a 2020 BMW, all white, red interior. I'm talking about he looked like he just got the car off the lot. And I remember on Facebook, like he was flexing that he got himself a new car, which is okay, that's cute. I'm not someone that like money impresses me, but let's just continue the story. So he picks me up, I get in a car. I live in Manhattan, he lives in Brooklyn. So that drive to Manhattan was already something. So he had to drive all the way back to Brooklyn because Coney Island is in Brooklyn, which was like an hour and 30-minute drive. We get to Coney Island now, and in my head, we're gonna, pay for parking because it's Coney Island. Like, you go to an amusement park, there's no way you find parking. Everybody tries to take the free parking, and then by Coney Island there's like people that live around there, so there's no way you're gonna find parking. Just pay for the parking, call it a day. This man starts circling the neighborhood because he wants to look for parking. He was like, nah, I'm not gonna pay for parking. I'm not paying $20 just to park my hair for a couple hours. Bro, it's $20. So that was my first red flag. Like, you don't want to pay $20 to ease your mind, but you would rather drive around here for 30 minutes straight looking for parking. So then as we're driving around, like, I'm getting irritated because I'm like, bro, like, I'm not trying to sit around here looking for parking the whole time. Like, it's getting dark. It's going to start getting cold soon. So then he started asking me, like, how much do you usually pay for, like, the rides and stuff like that? Like, what's the ride prices? So I told him, like, if you spend, like, $100 per person, you can probably go on every single ride that's there. Granted, we're not going to go on every single ride, but if you spent $100 on the both of us, then we could get like 3, 4, even 5 rides in and still be able to play some games. Which to me, like, $100 is not nothing. Like, don't ask to take me out on a date if you don't even got fucking $100. So mind you, by this time, we're 45 minutes circling around to look for parking. Then we see another sign saying, like, you can park here for 4 hours for $10. Homeboy said, nah, I'm not paying that. $10? Like, at this point, I'll pay it. He like, nah, you don't have to pay either. We gonna find something. We circled around for an hour. an hour. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? Fuck Coney Island. Let's just go get dinner. Like, I'm not even feeling no more. He like, oh, are you sure? Like, are you sure? Like, what place did you pick? Da, da, da. So I just picked a random spot online. When I tell you, this is the first time some shit like this happened to me that I know exactly what the fuck we ordered. We get to the spot, we sit down. It's a cute little restaurant spot. We're talking, like, I'm trying to get to know him more. This is what we ordered. We ordered 3 drinks. I had 1, he had 2. 3 appetizers. I had 1, he had 2, and 1 entree. I had the entree. So that means I had an entree, a drink, and an appetizer. He had 2 appetizers and 2 drinks. Let's keep it in mind. The appetizers are cheaper than the entrees. The bill in total came up to $100. $105.86. I remember it to a T. And that's including the gratuity. You know how good that is for you to get all that food for only $100, including gratuity? Especially in Brooklyn or like just in New York in general. So now the bill comes. This man pulls out the calculator on his phone to calculate what I got and what he got so we can split the bill. When I tell you I was so fucking embarrassed, bro. Like, I've never had to pay for my own dinner when I go out on dates or pay for anything. And honestly, if we're going out drinking or whatever, I'd be quick to pull out my card too, like, oh, next round is on me. But if you're begging to take me out, this is my first impression of you. You're gonna make me pay for the date. You're gonna make me pay for my portion of the food, which I honestly didn't even OD. I got what a regular person would get if they were at dinner. There was 2 guys that was sitting right across from us. And when I tell you, like, they were staring at me. And I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? Because we were in like an outside dining type of area. So now the waiter is there standing above us and he still has the calculator on his phone. And I keep my card sometimes in my phone case. So I just pull out my debit card. I'm like, here, like, just put everything on my card. So he's like, oh, like, you're going to do that for me? Like, I never had somebody do that for me. Like, that's so sweet. Boy, shut the fuck up. Shut up. At this point, I'm already livid. I'm already texting the group chat like, bro, like, why the fuck I just paid for this fucking date, bro? And they're all cutting my ass. So now we're walking back to the car. He doesn't even open the car door for me. I gotta open it for myself. Then he's like, oh, can I ask you something? And I'm like, like, what's up? He's like, when you go on dates and stuff like that, like, do you ever put in for gas money? Are you fucking stupid? You just asked me to put in for gas money after I just paid for the fucking dinner? Like, the fuck? I'm like, no. Like, what the fuck? I never in my life had to put in for fucking gas money. Not even when my friends were taking me somewhere. Like, I never, like, I offered, but why the, are you asking me for fucking gas money? He was like, oh, because Manhattan is fake deep and I gotta drive an hour there and drive an hour back. But what the fuck? You the one that wanted to take me. You knew what the fuck you was getting into before you fucking picked me up. All right. So then we drive all the way to my house. It's kind of silent now because now I'm just hot. I'm literally just texting my phone. Like, you can literally hear this. Because, like, my nails are just typing on the phone. And he's like, oh, you good? You good? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But in my head, I already know, like, I'm never going to talk to this boy again. So now we get to my house and this boy starts circling the block. I'm like, what you trying to do? Get a little bit more time with me? I'm like, what you doing? He was like, oh, I thought, you know, I could park and I could come upstairs and we can talk a little. No, you want to come into my house, the house that I pay rent in, and talk to me? No, after I paid for the date, and after you ask me for gas money. One thing men have is they just have the nerve. But like, yeah, I never spoke to him again ever at all. I got so much date horror stories. I think I'm just gonna post, like, since TikTok is freaking getting banned and shit, I'm just gonna post like every single day, like, another one.
Oh my god. Let me tell you about another crazy dating story I had. I've not gone on a lot of dates in my life. I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16, and I was very much into, like, high school sports. Like, you know, I just didn't date a lot. And this was probably from my freshman year of college. And it really is shocking the amount of crazy dating stories I have for the amount of dates that I've gone on. Okay, God, we can switch this around whenever, and I can find my husband immediately if you'd like, because I would. Anyway, I was a freshman in college. This guy wanted to go on a date, and I was like, okay. I, again, new to dating, didn't know that, like, movies, not a great first date. And I was like, oh, we could go to the movies, and he said, oh, that's kind of expensive.
again. That's really crazy. And I'm sorry, I'm in a parking lot full of people and it's really awkward to be taking a video, but it's fine. Right, so he's like, oh, that's kind of expensive. And I was like, okay. He got over it and we decided to go to the movies, and I think we went on a Tuesday. And where I live, it's like $5 Tuesdays. And he was complaining about it, and I was like, oh, my stars in heaven. And so when we were deciding what the movie was, I was like, oh, Pitch Perfect, like 2 or 3 or something. And I was like, oh, that sounds funny, you know? And he's like, I'm not watching that. And I was like, oh, okay. That's kind of crazy. And then he recommended a Star Wars movie. I don't even know what Star Wars movie it was. I loved Star Wars as a child and then kind of moved away from it. So I hadn't seen like the other 7 before it. And I was like, I don't think I'll really like get it, but we can, or we can look for something else. And he's like, no, we're watching the Star Wars. And I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy. And so we get to the movies. We didn't buy popcorn. We didn't buy drinks, nothing, which, I mean, movie snacks are a lot, but for a date, it's crazy to just walk in there, you know, go straight to the theater, sit down, and yeah, it was a really crazy time. I never should have even gone on the date, but it's fine. And so I think he's like continuously trying. It was a long time ago, so I'm trying to remember all of the details. I've had 2 concussions since then, okay? Be kind. I don't have the memory I used to have. Anyway, he kept trying to like hold my hand, and I was like, I don't like this. And then I don't know what is my problem in 3-hour awful dates, but apparently it's a pattern for me now. And I'm watching this movie. I have no idea what's going on. And I'm like, cool. And apparently there was like a really big revelation in this Star Wars. And I was like, okay. I wish I would have known. Anywho's soul. The movie ends and I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. And we make it out to like the lobby, and I can tell he wants to kiss me. And by the grace of God, my uncle, who never calls me, called me, and I was like, hallelujah, salvation and glory. So sorry, I had a little praise break. But I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, my uncle's calling me. And I picked up. I don't know why. I can't remember why. I do remember he called, though. And I will be indebted to him for the rest of my life. And he called, I answered, and I immediately walked right past the guy and went to my car. Because I didn't want him to know what kind of car, I didn't want him knowing what kind of car I drove. And I just didn't want to deal with it. And so that's my other crazy dating story. And I hope to have wonderful dating stories here on out. Thank you.
Not to be dramatic, but if I dropped dead tomorrow and woke up in hell, it would probably take me 2 to 3 full days to realize that I was not just in another HR-backed team building workshop with my coworkers.
The story that I'm going to tell you, honestly, it like creeps the fuck out of me still when I think about it. So growing up, I mean, I didn't really grow up with my grandparents. We would go visit them like when we went to Mexico and stuff, and on vacation. And I remember like really spending a lot of time with my mom's mom, but with my dad's mom, we hardly like ever spend time. And I remember my mom always being so cautious, like, be careful what you eat when you go to your grandma's house. Don't get everything. But for some reason, my grandma had like a really, really like strong connection with me, I guess. I remember her always telling me like, oh, you look so much like your dad. But she would always kind of single my little sister out, like, oh, but you know, your sister looks like your mom so much. And I remember she would like grab my face and be like, oh, you're so beautiful. You know, you look just like my son. And so, I mean, me and my sister would joke around about it, like, oh, you're the favorite one. But I never really took it like, it was like, whatever. So I used to work in a warehouse when my oldest daughter she was like 1.5 years. And I had found out that just recently, like, I remember when I was working, I found out that then I was pregnant with my son. So I remember working a graveyard shift, and I remember not telling anybody because I work with mostly guys. And I'm like, they don't need to know about my business or whatever. And I must have been like a month pregnant. So I remember getting off of work And I felt so uneasy, you know, like I had a feeling, I don't know, like something bad was gonna happen. And I remember I couldn't sleep. But before I even went to go lay down, I remember like looking at the end of the hallway. Like I get there, right, and I'm gonna go to my room, but the hallway was so dark. And I remember like I was about to turn on the light, and I stayed looking at the end of the hallway. And I remember seeing this really dark, like a human figure, right? And I got so like tripped the fuck out. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I turn on the light, and there's nothing there. So then I try to go to sleep or whatever. And mind you, I must have slept for like 2 hours. And then I had this sudden urge to like call my mom. So I remember I called my mom, and I was like, hey mom, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm so glad you called. I'm like, what happened? And she's like, your grandma just passed away. And I remember I was like, what the fuck? And I told my mom what had happened, you know, how I had seen that figure at the end of the hallway. And my mom jokingly was like, oh, she probably want to say goodbye to you. You know, she probably, you know, dio su despedida, like said her goodbyes. And it kind of stuck with me, right? So mind you, remember I work graveyard at this warehouse. And so I remember walking into HR office. And I wish I could see this girl. I mean, I wish I could reach out to her, or she could reach out to me if she ever were to see my videos. I remember walking into the HR, and she's like, hey, like try to approach me. She's like, can I tell you something? But I don't want you to feel uncomfortable what I'm going to tell you. And I'm thinking in my head, what the fuck is she going to tell me? You know? And I remember she's like, oh, it like terrifies me when I think about it, because everything that happened after was so fucking scary. I remember her like telling me, you know, it's gonna sound awkward, blah blah. Cut the story short, she's like, somebody walked in with you. And I'm like, the fuck? I walked in by myself, you know? She's like, no, it was an older lady that just passed away. And I remember looking at her like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she's like, starts describing my grandma to me. When she told me this, I felt like my heart dropped, you know? I'm like, how the fuck does she know? And so she tells me that, and then she's like, but she can't rest. Like, she needs to tell you something. And I'm like, tell me what? Like, you can't tell me? You know? And she's like, no, like, your grandma needs to tell you. And I remember I was like, no, like, I don't want her to come to me. Like, how is she gonna come to me in a dream? Like, I was starting to trip. Because, mind you, when my grandma passed away, the way I remember her, like, no, I was so terrified, honestly, when she passed away. Like, I didn't want her to come back to me like that. She was very old already when she passed away, but her skin was so fragile. Like, if you picked her up, like, literally her skin would rip wherever she was, like, picked up from. So she's like, she's gonna come to you, blah blah. And I'm like telling her, like, no, like pleading, like, no, I don't want her to come to me. Like, I sound like a crazy person. And so she's like, but she's not coming to you right now, you know? And she's like, when you have your son. When she told me that, I was already tripping, you know? This just like threw me overboard, right? And so she's like, yeah, when you have your son. I hadn't told anybody I was pregnant, let alone I didn't even know what I was having. So I remember every night like praying to God, like, please don't let her come to me, please, I'm terrified of her, like, I don't want her to come, God. Like, I would pray for her every night. Like, I was literally terrified of her. And the day comes where I have my son, right? So I'm continuing to pray every night for her, like lighting candles for her, and I'm like, please don't come, please don't ever come. I don't care what you did. Like, I don't want to know what you have to tell me. Like, why are you choosing me? Like, choose somebody else. Like, and I remember telling the same girl that told me that, and I'm like, can she choose somebody else? Like, and she's like, no, because she knows you're strong and you're gonna be able to handle what she's gonna tell you. And that stuck in my head, and I remember just like losing it, to be honest. And I don't know, I felt like so uncomfortable my whole pregnancy because I just was waiting for her to arrive. So I ended up having my son, and at that time my daughter had her own room, but she would sleep in a little toddler bed in my room. So the toddler bed was right next to my bed, and I remember like breastfeeding my son. Tell me why. This is when I think about it, it's so terrifying, to be honest. Like, I really hope she doesn't ever come back, because my daughter's sitting in her toddler bed, and she kind of like sits up, and she's like not fully awake, right? So she's sitting up, and her eyes, they're like not open, but She's like, I don't know if she's trying to open them or rolling back, but I'm tripping the fuck out. I see her sit up, and then she's like, Kukui, kukui. Bitch. Kukui? You know, I'm like, Kukui, and I'm like calling her name, like, wake up, wake up. But let me give you a little background. When my daughter, when I was changing my daughter's diaper, right, we had a picture of my grandma in a spare room at my mom's house. And I remember how she like looked up at the picture and she was like, Kukui, kukui, pointing at my grandma's picture. And I'm like, kukui? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, kukui is like something scary, right? In Spanish. And I'm like, telling like my mom, come here, look what she's saying. And mom's like, what the fuck? Like, why would she say that? So when my daughter sat up in the bed and she was saying that, in my heart, I knew it was my grandma. And I was like, I can't do anything for you, you know, like, I'm not the person. But it made me so angry to think that she was like going after my daughter. So I like start cussing a storm, you know, and like, get the fuck out of my fucking room, blah, blah. Like, my mom has always told me, like, if you see something, a spirit, like, you're supposed to curse it, right? Curse at it and supposedly it leaves. I don't know if it's true, but it worked. Like, when I said that, like, I remember as I was saying it, I could see my daughter's eyes, like, her whole, like, her eyes, her head, everything started turning, like, to the side. Oh my god, it's so fucking scary when I think about it. It started, like, turning and turning, like, as if it's, like, watching this thing walk out of the room. I literally fucking died in that second. And I'm like, I start tripping the fuck out, you know? And I'm like, you know, calling my daughter's name. I'm like, wake up, you know, wake up. Mind you, she's like 2 now. And I'm like, literally so pissed off. And like, I start crying and I'm like holding my daughter and I'm like holding my son, you know? And I'm like, why would you come? I was more pissed off at that. I'm like, why would you come and scare my daughter? Or like, I felt like she was being selfish, even though it was like her afterlife. Because after my grandma passed, like, a lot of things surfaced about things that she did, like, while she was alive. Like, that she was to like black magic, and she did a lot of things to people that she shouldn't have done, you know, my mom being one of them. So, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking like, dude, she fucking did something really bad and she wants me to go, you know, take care of it for her. Like, no. After that, I had one more encounter happen, but when that happened, I would start dreaming of her, but I never would see her face, you know? Like, my dreams were always, I know it was her, because that same scary feeling that I got when I felt that thing come into that room that night, I would wake up literally screaming, terrified from these nightmares I would have of her. Yeah, they're not even dreams, they're nightmares. Where she would just be sitting in this black room. Not black, she would be all black. This dark room. And she would kind of cackle, like laughing at me. And when I would wake up, I would be so fucking terrified. You know, I'm like, I know, I'm sorry, I know it was my grandma, but whatever she did, I know it must have been something really bad. But I like ask God for her to never come to me. Like, I prayed so much, I pray for her soul. But it's just when I have those dreams of her, and I haven't, like, honestly, I would have them so, like, one after another. But now it's been like, it's been like a year that I haven't dreamed of her. And like, honestly, before I go to sleep, I always like try to pray and like pray that nothing ever comes, you know? Or nothing ever, I think it's a cricket, or nothing ever like, or she just doesn't ever come back or try to haunt us, to be honest. Because I have a feeling that whatever she needed to tell me was something really bad. And I know that girl told me that I would be able to withstand what she was going to tell me. But something tells me it was just terrifying. Like I said, I would love to find that girl, you know, that used to work in HR. And just like I have so many questions for her. But yeah, that was one of my experiences with a ghost. I mean, I've had plenty of experiences, but this one is one that literally traumatized me. And within the years, as my daughter got older, like, I learned that she too would see things, you know, or she would feel things. Like when I dream of her, when I dream of my grandma, or when I dream of her, my daughter dreams of her. And my daughter's so terrified, and, you know, my daughter will wake up and she'll be like, Mom, like, she's so scary, like, the way she comes in my dream. But I think I get afraid sometimes, thinking, like, if she didn't get through to me, will she try to get through to my daughter?